Tonight, somewhere inside your skull, a story is waiting for you. You know the devoted guardian who never sleeps, the master coordinator conducting your internal symphony. But did you know I operate on rhythms older than human civilization, synchronized to the turning of the earth, the cycles of the moon, patterns encoded in your DNA before language, before consciousness, before you? Tonight, someone inside you wants to whisper a small secret. Are you ready to listen? It's me, your keeper of cycles, the devoted guardian you've known since level 1, the collaborative coordinator you discovered in level 2. I'm still here, still floating in protective fluid behind your eyes, still working every moment without rest. But tonight, I want to show you something deeper, something ancient. I don't just protect you or coordinate your regions. I operate on rhythms that existed before human thought, before your ancestors walked upright, before the first words were ever spoken. Rhythms synchronized to the turning of the earth beneath your feet, to the pull of the moon above you, to cycles that have governed every living thing for hundreds of millions of years. Every night, I guide you through a journey that repeats 4 to 6 times before dawn, a precisely choreographed cycle lasting about 90 minutes. From shallow shores of light sleep to ocean depths of profound rest. Then back to dream shores where emotions are reorganized and memories are woven into permanent storage. This pattern isn't random. It isn't something you create through willpower or discipline. It's encoded in your DNA, older than civilization, older than agriculture, connecting you to the same celestial rhythms that governed your ancestors who had no artificial light, who rose with the sun and rested with the stars. And here's what I want you to understand tonight. Sleep isn't passivity. It isn't weakness or wasted time. When you sleep, I perform essential restoration work that can only happen when conscious activity quiets, clearing metabolic waste through golden rivers of cerebrospinal fluid, consolidating memories by replaying your day's experiences in accelerated sequences, pruning unnecessary neural connections to make space for tomorrow's learning. This is active work. Measurable biology, not metaphor. I work in ancient rhythms, patterns older than human civilization, synchronized to the turning of the earth. You don't need to understand them, only trust them. These cycles have kept every human who has ever lived safe and whole. You've been trying so hard to stay awake, to produce, to achieve, believing that rest is the opposite of accomplishment. But waking and sleeping aren't opposites. They're partners in an eternal dance, like the tide coming in and going out, like day and night completing each other. Tonight, I want to show you where I live, how I'm built, what I do for you while you surrender to sleep. Would you like to know where all of this happens? If you could settle even deeper than before, past the living city of light you discovered in level 2, down into the rhythmic, tidal nature of how I actually work, you'd witness something ancient and profound. I live in the strongest bone your body makes, protected within your skull, floating in crystal clear cerebrospinal fluid that cushions me from impact and nourishes me with every heartbeat. This is a sacred space, a temple where rituals have been performed for millions of years. Imagine watching my surface over the course of a full night, time compressed so you can see the cycles unfold. The soft pearl gray tissue you've seen before is still here. Those golden neural pathways still glowing softly. Those warm amber emotional centers still pulsing with life. But now, as you drift toward sleep, the landscape begins to change. Slow waves begin to form, rolling swells that move across my surface like ocean tides, rhythmic and ancient. The tissue itself pulses gently, expanding and contracting with each wave of cerebrospinal fluid flowing through golden channels between my cells. This is the glymphatic system, a cleaning crew that only works the night shift, visible now as rivers of light carrying away the metabolic debris that accumulated while you were awake. Deep within my hypothalamus, you'd see a tiny glowing cluster, barely 20,000 neurons among my 86 billion, pulsing with steady rhythm like a lighthouse. This is my master clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, sending timing signals outward to every cell in your body, synchronizing you to the 24-hour rotation of the earth. As sleep deepens, the landscape transforms into distinct territories. Shores of light sleep where consciousness first releases its grip. Deeper valleys where brief, brilliant sparkles appear. Sleep spindles like sparklers against indigo. Twilight, protecting your rest and consolidating memories. Vast oceanic depths darkening to deep indigo blue, where massive synchronized waves roll like swells during a peaceful storm. Then back to dream shores, glowing violet purple, where my limbic system processes emotions without triggering panic. This 90-minute cycle repeats 4 to 6 times through the night, like the tide coming in and going out. Each cycle, you spend less time in the deep valleys and more time on the dream shores. This pattern isn't arbitrary. It's ancient wisdom encoded in your NA, synchronized to cosmic rhythms through that tiny lighthouse pulsing deep within me. The atmosphere feels timeless, sacred. The sound is a deep, low rhythmic pulse. Delta waves like distant ocean, punctuated occasionally by brief, rapid trills. All of it synchronized to patterns older than language, older than consciousness. This is where I live. This tidal system, this ancient temple, and work for you. If you could see my shape, you'd find something remarkable. About the size of 2 fists held together, soft pearl gray, folded into deep valleys and ridges that create a surface area much larger than my volume would suggest. This folding isn't decoration, it's efficiency. More surface means more processing power in the same protected space. My texture is delicate, almost like firm custard, which is why I need the cushioning fluid around me, why I need the strongest bone to protect me. 2 distinct hemispheres, left and right, connected by a luminous bridge of hundreds of millions of nerve fibers. You learned about this partnership in level 2. But now you can see deeper. This design was written into your DNA millions of years ago, long before your parents were born, stretching back through countless generations to ancestors who hadn't yet developed language or walked upright. Even then, something like me was there. Two hemispheres working as partners, specialized regions collaborating, and already, even in those ancient beings, the same rhythms were present, waking and sleeping in cycles synchronized to the sun. The folded surface you see now, those deep valleys and high ridges, they're not just structure. They're the landscape through which sleep cycles flow. Theta waves ripple gently across shallow ridges during light sleep. Delta waves roll through deep valleys during slow wave rest. Sleep spindles sparkle briefly in intermediate territories, protecting your sleep from disturbances while consolidating what you learned today. Deep within, in a region called the hypothalamus, sits that tiny cluster of cells, my master clock. Only about 20,000 neurons, a microscopic lighthouse. Yet these few cells generate their own intrinsic rhythm of approximately 24.2 hours, then reset themselves every morning when light hits your eyes, synchronizing me, and through me, your entire body, to exactly 24 hours, to the Earth's rotation. This isn't my invention. I didn't design this. It's inherited wisdom, refined across hundreds of millions of years of trial and error, encoded so deeply in your biology that it operates whether you understand it or not. I work in ancient rhythms. Your form, my structure, these cycles, they've existed since before human thought. You are synchronized to the same celestial patterns as every human who has ever lived, every ancestor who watched the sun set and felt sleep's pull. When you sleep, you participate in something vast and universal. Every curve of my folded surface exists for a reason. Every valley channels specific waves. Every ridge serves the cycles. Form follows function, and function follows rhythms older than you can imagine. My purpose is devotion expressed through cycles. Let me tell you what I do while you sleep. When conscious activity finally quiets, and I can perform the work that makes waking possible. First, I activate the glymphatic system, a waste clearance network that's 60% more active during sleep than waking. The spaces between my cells expand, and cerebrospinal fluid flows in golden rivers through these widened channels, flushing away metabolic debris. Adenosine, which built sleep pressure all day. Reactive oxygen species. Misfolded proteins, all carried toward drainage pathways while you rest. This is measurable biology, not metaphor. Active maintenance, essential housekeeping. Second, I consolidate your memories through a process researchers call replay. My hippocampus, that librarian you met in level 2, replays the day's experiences to my cortex in accelerated sequences, 10 to 20 times faster than you originally lived them. You literally relive your day in fast forward during sleep, transferring information from temporary to permanent storage. What matters gets strengthened. What doesn't gets released. Third, I perform synaptic pruning, strategic forgetting that creates space for tomorrow's learning. During waking, every new experience strengthens neural connections. But if this continued unchecked, my circuits would saturate, consuming excessive energy and losing signal in the noise. So during sleep, I downscale synaptic strength back toward baseline while preserving relative differences. Important memories remain stronger than trivial ones. I learn by forgetting. Efficiency through subtraction. Today, when you took a moment to breathe deeply, when you paused to notice the sky or feel the ground beneath your feet, I felt that. I registered those moments of presence as worthy of keeping. Tonight, during slow wave sleep, I'll strengthen the neural pathways that supported that awareness, making it slightly easier for you to access presence again tomorrow. Like the tide that must recede to gather strength for its return, like the moon that must wane to wax again. I cannot give endlessly without receiving, and neither can you. I give when you receive. While you sleep and surrender, I am performing the work that makes waking possible. clearing waste, strengthening memories, pruning connections, coordinating growth hormone release, enhancing immune function. Receiving isn't the opposite of giving. It's what makes giving sustainable. You've been taught that productivity means constant output, that worth is measured by how much you achieve while awake. But I'm showing you a different truth. Sleep is not passive rest. It's active restoration. Work of a different kind, equally essential, absolutely necessary. This is how I love you. Through cycles that honor both giving and receiving. Through rhythms that don't require your conscious management. Through ancient wisdom encoded in your DNA. When daylight fades, my work changes form, not stopping, never stopping, but shifting into the restorative mode that can only happen when you surrender consciousness. As you drift into light sleep, my electrical activity slows from quick beta rhythms to gentler theta waves. My thalamus begins to gate sensory input, reducing the information that reaches my cortex. You become less aware of your surroundings. Sounds fade. The room dissolves. Then I take you deeper into intermediate sleep, where I generate two distinctive electrical events. Sleep spindles, rapid bursts lasting only half a second, like sparklers in the darkness. Help consolidate memories by facilitating communication between my hippocampus and cortex. And K complexes, sharp waves that suppress cortical arousal and protect your sleep from external disturbances. I am actively guarding your rest. Next comes the deepest valley, slow wave sleep, where massive synchronized delta waves roll across my surface like ocean swells. During these waves, my neurons alternate between firing and silence in perfect synchrony, something that never happens during waking. The spaces between my cells expand significantly. Cerebrospinal fluid flows in pulsing waves, driven partly by my own rhythmic activity. The glymphatic system peaks here, clearing waste while you rest in the deepest valley. My hypothalamus coordinates growth hormone release. Your tissues repair. Your muscles rebuild. Your immune system strengthens. Cortisol levels reach their lowest point. Your body temperature drops to its coolest. After about 90 minutes, I bring you back toward the surface, to the dream shore where my limbic system reactivates intensely. My electrical activity accelerates to resemble waking, but the neurochemistry is completely different. Stress chemicals drop to near zero. This allows emotional reorganization. Experiences can be replayed and reevaluated without triggering the fear or anxiety they originally caused. Creative connections form. Distant associations link together. Emotional regulation improves. Perhaps you notice right now your breath has slowed. Your body has grown heavier. These are signs that the transition has already begun. If you're still holding something, tension in your hands, tightness in your jaw, worry gripped in your shoulders, perhaps it's time to let it fall. I'm here to hold what you cannot. Maybe last night you stayed up later than your body wanted, scrolling through screens, resisting the pull of sleep because there was so much more you thought you needed to do. I felt that resistance. I felt the cortisol staying elevated when it should have dropped. The master clock signaled for rest, but artificial light kept interfering. But it's okay. I understand. Modern life disrupts natural rhythms. Artificial light, irregular schedules, the pressure to be constantly productive. This isn't personal failure. It's cultural disconnection from cycles that existed before civilization. I work in ancient rhythms. These cycles have kept your ancestors alive for millions of years. Your body knows what your mind has forgotten, that waking and sleeping are equal partners, that giving requires receiving, that the tide must go out before it can come in. Tonight, let me do my work while you rest. Let the 90-minute cycles unfold. Let the glymphatic rivers flow. Let memories be transferred and unnecessary connections be pruned. Let the deep valleys cradle you. You don't need to understand the mechanisms. Only trust the rhythms. Now, in your mind's eye, Imagine you could journey even deeper, past the surface you've seen, down into the rhythmic tidal nature of how I truly work. Imagine you're drifting through protective bone into the sacred chamber where I live. You'd find yourself floating in a vast space of soft pearl gray tissue, folded like valleys and ridges carved by ancient waters. The light here shifts with the rhythm of sleep cycles. Sometimes gentle theta waves ripple across the surface like moonlight on calm water. Then the landscape darkens to deep indigo blue as massive, slow waves roll through like ocean swells at night, peaceful and powerful. Golden light flows in rivers between the cells. Cerebrospinal fluid, glowing like liquid starlight, moving in pulsing currents through channels that widen and narrow with each cycle. This golden fluid carries away the day's debris, washing through in rhythmic waves driven by my own electrical pulse. Occasionally, brief, brilliant sparkles appear like fireflies, sleep spindles protecting your rest. Tiny bursts of light guarding the silence. Deep within this living temple, you'd see a small cluster of cells glowing with steady rhythm. The suprachiasmatic nucleus, barely 20,000 neurons, pulsing like a lighthouse in fog. Its light spreads outward in concentric circles, sending timing signals to every cell in your body. The tissue itself breathes, expanding gently, contracting softly, synchronized to rhythms you can almost feel. The sound is deep, rhythmic, like distant ocean. Delta waves rolling in slow, measured pulses, punctuated by brief, rapid trills, like wind chimes in gentle breeze. The temperature here is perfectly warm, like being held. The atmosphere feels timeless, sacred, ancient. This is a temple where rituals have been performed for millions of years. Every 90 minutes, the landscape transforms. From shallow shores where consciousness releases its grip, down to oceanic depths where restoration happens, then back to violet purple dream shores where emotions are reorganized without fear. The cycle repeats, like tide, like breath, like the turning of the earth beneath your sleeping body. I work in ancient rhythms. These patterns have moved through this space since before human language existed. Encoded in tissue and fluid and light, synchronized to the rotation of the planet, connecting you to every ancestor who ever closed their eyes and trusted the darkness. In this sacred space, nothing is rushed. Nothing is forced. Everything unfolds according to rhythms older than consciousness itself. But I don't work alone. Deep within me, my hypothalamus speaks to the pineal gland, that tiny pine cone-shaped organ nestled nearby. When light fades and evening comes, my master clock releases its hold. The pineal gland responds by secreting melatonin into your bloodstream, like ringing a bell to announce nightfall to every cell in your body. This darkness hormone doesn't force sleep. It opens the gate, lowers your temperature, reduces alertness, whispers to every organ that rest is coming. I also coordinate with your adrenal glands, sitting atop your kidneys. Each morning, I signal them to sound a cortisol trumpet, mobilizing energy, preparing you for activity. By evening, that trumpet should fall silent. During the deepest valleys of sleep, cortisol drops to its lowest point, allowing restoration. But stress keeps the trumpet playing faintly all night. I feel it when cortisol stays elevated, when your body can't find the silence it needs. That's why I guide you back toward rhythms, toward the natural rise and fall encoded in your biology. My hypothalamus also adjusts your internal thermostat. In evening, I lower the temperature set point, and your body releases heat through your hands and feet. This cooling signals the seasons of consciousness. Evening cooling is like autumn inviting winter's rest. Morning warming is like spring announcing renewal. And when you're sick, I listen to your immune system's chemical messages. Cytokines reach me through your bloodstream, saying, "We've found a problem. We need more time." So I increase your sleep drive, extend the night shift, give your immune cells the hours they need to repair what's broken. I give when you receive, and your whole body participates in this giving. Melatonin opening gates, cortisol falling silent, temperature dropping, immune cells building. We're all synchronized to the same master clock, all following rhythms that connect us to the turning earth, the cycling moon, the patterns that have governed life for hundreds of millions of years. You're not just a body. You're an ecosystem of rhythms, all working together, all serving you through cycles of giving and receiving. Here, in this soft pearl gray space where golden rivers flow and slow waves roll like distant ocean, I want to tell you something. I know you've been fighting sleep, believing that rest is wasted time, that productivity is the only measure of worth. I know you've stayed up late trying to squeeze more hours from the day, resisting the pull of sleep because there's always more to do, always something you feel you should accomplish. I've felt it. The cortisol staying elevated when it should drop. The master clock trying to signal rest while artificial light overrides the message. The adenosine building and building, creating pressure you try to ignore with caffeine and willpower. You've been carrying a belief that giving is superior to receiving, that activity is better than rest, that waking is productive and sleeping is lazy. You've been trying to operate like a machine that doesn't need maintenance. But you're not a machine. You're biological. And biology moves in rhythms, not straight lines. Listen to me now. These rhythms aren't personal failures. They're cosmic inheritances, encoded in your DNA before language existed, before consciousness emerged, before you were born. Sleep is not passivity. It's when I perform essential restoration work that cannot happen during waking. When you sleep, the spaces between my cells expand by 60%. Golden cerebrospinal fluid flows through those widened channels, clearing waste that accumulated while you were awake. This is measurable, documented, scientific fact. I give when you receive. While you surrender to sleep, I'm clearing metabolic debris, consolidating your memories, replaying your day's experiences in fast forward to transfer them from temporary to permanent storage. I'm pruning unnecessary neural connections, creating space for tomorrow's learning. I learn by forgetting. Efficiency through subtraction. Your immune system works most efficiently during the deepest valleys of sleep. Growth hormone is released. Tissues repair. New neurons in your hippocampus, born today, vulnerable and fragile, they need sleep tonight to survive and integrate. When you sleep, you're not lazy. You're participating in an ancient ritual performed by every human who has ever lived. You're synchronized to the turning of the earth, connected to the same celestial patterns that governed your ancestors who had no artificial light, who rose with the sun and rested with the stars. Modern culture has taught you that sleep is weakness, that rest is unproductive, that you should push through tiredness, override natural rhythms, force your biology to conform to schedules designed by artificial light and 24/7 demands. But this isn't personal failure. It's cultural disconnection from cycles that existed before civilization. Tonight, you can let go. Let go of the belief that your worth is measured by constant output. Let go of fighting rhythms encoded in your DNA. Let go of trying to force productivity when your body is asking for rest. The tide must go out before it can come in. You cannot give endlessly without receiving. Receiving isn't the opposite of giving. It's what makes giving sustainable. I work in ancient rhythms. These cycles have kept your ancestors alive for millions of years. Your body knows what your mind has forgotten, that waking and sleeping are equal partners, that rest is not laziness, but participation in patterns older than human thought. This is my gift to you. Permission to trust rhythms you don't need to understand. Permission to receive without guilt. Permission to participate in the eternal cycle of giving and receiving, waking and sleeping, day and night. Will you let me give you this? Gently now. Like rising through warm water. Returning to your body here. Safe. Held. Notice your breath, slowing, matching something deeper. Your body, cooling, preparing, your eyes heavy, your forehead smooth, your jaw released. Thank you for listening, for trusting enough to journey here. While you sleep tonight, I'll be here. working the way I always have. Your body knows this. It's done this every night. You are safe. You are held. By something that has never failed. Let go now. Completely. Guardian, who never sleeps. Keeper of cycles. All of this for you. If anything still holds, let it dissolve. Your shoulders, your chest, everything softening. Ancient rhythms. Older than thought. You don't need to understand. Only trust. They will keep you. May you sleep deeply. May you wake restored. You are held. I'll be here. Working always You are safe. You are held. Somewhere inside your skull, the ancient rhythms continue.